Hey guys, I just saw Mother, and I now need my mommy. For real though, this is a new release from the director Darren Aronofsky, who worked on Requiem for a Dream, which royally fucked me up, and Black Swan, which I haven't seen just yet. So, um, this guy has, from what I hear, a real taste for the dark arts, and this film is like no different. It's got Jennifer Lawrence, Javier Bardem, Ed Harris, and Michelle Pfeiffer starring in it. One more kind of big name, but I won't say it if you haven't seen it. So really, the basic plot of this movie is that Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem are a married couple, and they're staying in this old country home that like is in the middle of nowhere. We don't even know exactly where it is, but they seem to be in kind of an unhappy marriage, and that is until Ed Harris's character comes in, and being the nice guest that he is, Javier Bardem offers for him to stay at the house with them. Because he's like, oh, we got so much space and we never use it. And he said the house is too big. Jennifer Lawrence is just like, this. We don't know who this guy is. And he's like, nah, it's fine. And just the whole time you're like, what the hell? Why would he be okay with this? And it starts to get even more awkward once Michelle Pfeiffer, who is Ed Harris's wife, appears and just starts being kind of I don't want to call her a bitch, but she's kind of being a nosy Nelly, if that is the best way to describe it. And I'm not gonna say much else after that point, because just from then on it becomes much more than I expected. So for me to even like kind of hint at that type of stuff, I would need to let you guys know that there's spoilers from this point on. If you haven't seen this movie yet, I would say avoid other reviews. Just go in without anything, because that's how I went into it. I just saw the trailer and I was intrigued. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to know anything about this one. I just want to go into it, and that was the best way to see it. To go see it, I recommend it, but be ready for some shit, man. All right. Once I got out of the theater, I had like a bunch of questions, because again, I hadn't seen any reviews. I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna go watch all those reviews and stuff. And there's actually one video that I think is gonna discuss this, what the movie stands for in the biblical sense, a lot better than I could have. So I'm gonna link that guy's video in the description whenever I get done filming this, obviously. But in a basic sense, yeah, it's about religion, it's about fame, it's about marriage, parenthood. In a way, it's just kind of all over the place, but really it's about the religious subtext. So at the end of the movie, we're kind of not really told, but it's definitely hinted towards, and I kind of saw it in a sense going in. But Javier Bardem is the representation of God. Jennifer Lawrence is a representation of Mother Earth. The entire house is Earth itself. That is the world that we live in. And at the beginning, we see those eyes that are glowing, and there's fire all around. And I assumed that was going to come back towards the end, just because it was so odd. And I'm like, okay, I don't think this movie's that abstract, but it's understandable once you get what it's going for. I don't think it goes into like, David Lynch type of territory quite, because I was following it, even though like there's a lot to be dissected. So we get shown that at the beginning, and it's shown towards the end, because what ends up happening is, oh man, my jaw literally dropped when this happened. But like I said, there's a bunch of house guests that come in other than Ed Harris and Michelle Pfeiffer, and they start taking over the house and just wrecking things. One of them breaks the sink, and it kind of like floods the place, and it's like Noah in the ark. And from that point on, I'm trying to remember what exactly. I think it was then. It was at that point that Jennifer Lawrence just is fed up. She yells and tells everyone to get out, and they all run out because of the sink breaking. And then her and Javier Bardem end up doing the do, and she becomes pregnant. She knows instantly that she's pregnant, and it's kind of weird. But again, that religious subtext leads you to believe that, yeah, she's pregnant with Jesus. And what ends up happening is she has the baby during like the weirdest montage of like riots and stuff. Like, I couldn't tell you exactly what happens. There's just a bunch of people looting their house and destroying things. I think at one point she gets groped, I'm pretty sure. And it just keeps going on and on until she runs into this room where Javier Bardem has this like this diamond that he kept in there, and Ed Harris and Michelle Pfeiffer went in there and broke the diamond, and he got really mad. And I guess at this point I can go ahead and say it because I'm in the spoiler territory. Ed Harris and Michelle Pfeiffer are supposed to be an allegory for Adam and Eve. Them breaking the diamond is them eating the apple, essentially. Javier Bardem's upset because he's God, obviously. He tells them to get out. They get out. And he ends up boarding up the room that it's in. So at this point in the movie where she's pregnant and she's about to have this baby and she's running away from everyone, they unboard that door, and she goes in, she has the child, and Javier Bardem's like, oh, let me hold him. She's like, no, you need to tell them to get out of my house before I let you hold them, which makes sense because we know what he ends up doing. She falls asleep, he grabs the baby, he goes to show everyone, they end up taking the baby. Not only do they take the baby, this is the part where my jaw dropped, they eat the child. This baby that we see up close, they eat him. Surely enough, Jennifer Lawrence has had enough. She grabs some glass and starts stabbing literally everyone in sight that she can get, until like she stabs a priest or something like that, and then she starts getting stomped out, and they're like ripping her clothes off and stuff, and yeah, you see boob. But it's just horrifying. Like, that whole sequence is just terrible. Not in the sense that, like, you know, it was a badly shot or anything like that. It was just terrible because I couldn't stand it. Like, man, I didn't want to walk out. I just wanted it to be over. I wanted some peace at once. So Javier Bardem comes in, breaks him up, and tells him to get out of there. And by this point, she's like, you let them kill our baby, because that's essentially what he did. And he's like, I didn't know they were going to do that. And one thing leads to another. She ends up burning down the house because of this tank that she finds, or this oil tank thing that she finds at the bottom in the basement. And she lights it on fire, burns the whole house down, burns her to a crisp. And she's still alive. But Javier Bardem comes out. You think he probably got burned too, but no, he's untouched, and that's when we finally figure out what's going on. So I just wanted to just come out and say what the ending was, because that's literally what you would... I just wanted to refresh you guys on what would be like sort of the thing that you would need to remember going into like the video that I'm going to link down below. You have to like keep all that in mind. It's fresh for me because I just got out. But I solely just want to judge this movie based on the techniques used to make it, and you know, stuff other than what the subtext is talking about and what the story is truly about. I just want to go ahead and judge it based on how it was shot, lit, acted, stuff like that. I think Jennifer Lawrence truly does deserve some kind of award for the acting that she put up in this. I really can't recall the last time I saw her act this well. Now, there are a bunch of scenes, like, before you realize who she is, like how she represents Mother Nature, that she's just like, what are you doing? Put that down. Oh, no, you can't jump on the sink. Stop jumping on the sink. Like, it's just like, you understand that in any way you wouldn't want people in your house like doing all this stuff, but at the same time, I wouldn't just be sitting around telling them, oh, you can't do that. I would be flipping out, which she saves until the end, and then we figure out she's actually Mother Nature. And that's the thing about Mother Nature, is Mother Nature has been kind to us since the beginning, and we've been the ones that have been destroying it and pushing it to the point where we have natural disasters and stuff. So I hated that while watching it, but if I were to rewatch it, which I am going to rewatch this, I'm going to be more forgiving of that kind of stuff. Javier Bardem, you feel like he's doing something sinister, which part of me felt like that before we had like the context that we did. And you feel like he's up to something, and that's like probably the reason why his performance is the second best. Honestly, it might be better than Lawrence's in a way, because I didn't know where the film was going, and part of me still liked his character just because of how joyful he could be, but at the same time, he was cold. It's God, so like you really get that feel in a way, because he won't do anything with Jennifer Lawrence that's really romantic until like halfway through the movie, where she's like, "You don't even fuck me anymore," or like anything like that, and he's like, "Oh, I'll show you," and that ends up making the child, and he's able to write again, and he feels reinvigorated. So I side with him, but at the same time, it's hard to see like why he does the things that he does, and why he continues to let people come into the house, and that ends up being his religion. And people in that religion can be. I'm gonna stop talking right there, but you get the point. His performance is really good. I had no real issues with any of the performances for what they were. So, on that sense, I think the movie really shines. The cinematography also is really good. There's a lot of close shots. You literally see like Jennifer Lawrence here for like a third of her performance. Probably like more than a third, probably half of her performance. At least up close. There's not a lot of wide shots of her. That's because we're seeing it from her perspective, so I appreciated it from that front. It's well lit. It's lit in the sense that it kind of tricks you and makes you think that you're getting into a horror movie, when in all actuality I wouldn't really categorize this as a horror movie, but it's shot that way, and it's lit that way, which is really good in misleading the audience, not knowing what they're going to get into. So on that level, on a technical level, and the sound design is really good too. You just hear the house creaking and stuff when like no one's even walking around really. It's just kind of eerie. I really can't, like, there wouldn't be one specific moment where I didn't like the sound design. It's all good. So I think that needs a lot of attention as well when talking about technically what makes this movie pretty good. So overall, I need more viewings of this before I can give it like a certain score, but I think that can be said for anyone that's going to see it, because it's not really a score type of movie. It's more just, what do you see? How are you going into it, and how do you feel coming out of it? That's really the best way to take it out. I saw a quote from someone that just compared this movie to a Rorschach test, and I think that's the best way to talk about it. But yeah, just see it honestly and make your own conclusion in this sense. I liked it. I couldn't put it on a scale, but I do think it deserves the attention it gets, good or bad. So that's it. That's all I have to say about this movie for the moment. So the next movie is going to be Kingsman. I plan on rewatching the first one just so that I can get back into the mood for those movies, because I'm excited for it, but it's, I don't know. There's something about me saying, like, you know, I wanted a Kingsman 2, but I'll just have to see how the action is. I don't feel like the trailers are really doing it a ton of justice, other than just showing cool shots of the characters. I like the inclusion of the Statesman so far, so we'll see where it goes. But until then, this has been Z-Roll. Peace.
Like it's nothing, 'cause it's nothing, bitch.